What's up? Hey, all right, GERO 200. All right, so it's March 26th, 2023. We're going into week 11, all right, Sunday. I hope you guys had a great weekend. We finally had some sunshine, although it's short-lived because it looks like we're going to have hideous rainy weather on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week, especially Wednesday, which is my big lecture day in the GERO auditorium, which it's beginning to bum me out, guys. Alrighty, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into week 11, and we've built this scenario about how important it is to do some retirement savings, some financial planning, because why we live so much longer. Okay, um, and we talked about some of the tools that you should have in your toolkit, and so we're going to go deep into that toolkit today. Um, just to remind you, all right, in terms of GERO 200, we'll scroll down here. We do have this writing assignment coming up a week from tomorrow. All right, so I'm just going to go over there real quickly and check out the critical thinking assignment. Okay, it makes you think about the basically what we're going to be talking about today. You're going to become a financial planner for a day or for a couple of days as you're putting this thing all together. All right, so so this is the old video that I did for last semester. I'll be putting a new one in, but you can just go ahead and work ahead of time and check this out. It's kind of the how-to in terms of this, and here's our goals. Just to basically, you all need to become your own financial planners. Now, I do it a little, but mostly my co-instructor, my wife, she is a guru at this. And so we have we're going to talk about the work-based retirement plans. Okay, there's a 401k. When you're a nonprofit, we have the equivalent called the 403b, and basically, the corporation sets up the plan, and then you invest a portion of your salary every month into it, and in our end, then what we're able to do, what on Julie's end, what she's able to do is she goes into our Fidelity account, and you guys can open your own Fidelity account. You can open up your own Vanguard account, Morgan Stanley, doesn't matter, which one you use. I'm partial to the Fidelity account, has very low fees on it, and you can go in and select your investment strategies. And the reason I'm talking about this is you don't have to hire a financial planner to do this, okay? And that's the bottom line. You don't have to hire somebody that's gonna, there's a reason that this person is a financial planner. It's because they make a lot of money off of people like you that are afraid to get in and do it on your own. And you guys, it's no different than doing a video game or going into your apps and playing around. Once you get it figured out, it's fun. It's super fun. Okay. And yeah, you're able to, based on your age, invest in these categories of stocks that we'll talk about later on. They're called mutual funds, index funds, and you can assign your risk based on where you are in your life. Right now you guys can do a little bit more risky investments. When you're older like me, you start pulling back on the risk and you start doing investments in large companies that are stable. These are called blue chip companies, and you actually take a big chunk of your portfolio and you do more and more investments as you get older, and you invest it into what are called bonds, which are basically loans. Loans meaning you've loaned your money to the government, and that's a treasury bill, thing like that. Now, all right, so I'm rambling on and on, but this is your CT, and it explains exactly what you have to do. This is important. This is super important, guys. Okay. All right. I want to talk to you. All right. This is kind of like your GERO daddy talk. Okay. You need to be able to manage your own money, and you need to think ahead. And this is a sit down you should have, each and one of you, with your parents. Okay. And find out what kind of financial planning they have done. And the simplest thing is you can just be completely mercenary and say, have you listed me as a beneficiary in case you die? Okay. How is this all set into motion? All right, that's being a little too mercenary. But ask them, how are you set up? Well, do you have, we're going to talk about them. Do you have IRAs? Do you have Roth IRAs? Do you have 401k, 413b. What are your other sources of income? You know, have you invested in land? Do you have rental properties? These are all things that really you need to understand, and things you need to start wrapping your head around, okay? You see what's going down in France right now, okay? By the time you guys are ready to retire, the United States is going to keep pushing back the retirement age. You know, it's 66.66667 right now. It's going to be 70 before you know it. Wrap your head around that you have to be competitive in the workplace until you're 70 of age, 70 years of age to get the max benefit of your Social Security. All right. So that's the video right there. This is the slide deck, okay, that is going to be that's happening right here. So we have each little step right there that you have to take care of, okay? And I'm going to go over this, okay? And then you compare it to what's going on in this Washington Post article. We've made a docx. This is the actual article, and you interpret it with that. So anyways, I'm going to get into this later, but it's all laid out here about what you're going to be doing. You're going to be doing a 401k, and you're going to be using this investment calculator to pretend like you're doing an individual retirement account, and you're going to see what happens, okay? So just here's the actual deck as a PDF file. So review it, follow the instructions, and then go to town, okay? Do the same thing here. Same drill, you need to have figures. It's all laid out here, okay, in the assignment, okay? All right, so we scroll down here, okay? There's the rubric. Follow the rubric to a T because we have a lot of students, so we just go in there like a machine and make sure that you've done each of these steps right here. Don't miss out, okay? Remember, what is the difference between an IRA and a Roth IRA? I want to know, okay? All right, what are matching funds? Why is that important? Why is that important? Okay, on and on and on and on. And then you compare it to this article. All right, very cool, guys. All right, so let's go in to week 11, all right? Okay, we're in. All right, so we're into our weekly assignments. It's amazing how far we have come. All right, so we've talked about the issue that society has. Okay, and we have a lot of people that that have not prepared for their future of retirement. People live longer, and yet a lot of people don't have any resources. Okay, so this is a big social implication, big society burden. Are we a compassionate society? Do we just kick other people out onto the streets because they can't afford rent? On and on and on. Okay, this is being thought about in our country. It's being thought about globally. Okay. We talked about some of the steps with the economic preparation for retirement. We'll go over that again today. You have to set up budgets, how you have to project into the future, okay? So let's get into this right now. All right, retirement planning. So this video is going to go right here, okay? I think this is worthwhile. Like I said, this is your future, guys. This is something that you need to start doing. My challenge to all of you, okay? My charge to all of you, meaning I really want you to do this, is to sit down with your parents, okay? Do it on your own and create a Fidelity account now, all right? And in that Fidelity account, I want you to set up some Roth IRAs with whatever money you have, okay? If you're working, okay? So you need to be employed in order to do this, okay? If not, okay, sit down with your parents, okay, and set up a brokerage account, okay, and we're going to talk about those, okay. This is something that that you can just you pay capital gains on, okay, but it's okay. You'll watch the money grow. All right, so this is a really cool article, a great overview. So it goes through everything from setting up a budget, why this is so important. And setting up a budget is, do I still owe money on this house? That's part of my budget when I retire. What are gas bills and electric bills like nowadays? They kind of suck, So you need to give yourself in your budget money for gas, electric, okay, gasoline, car, food, entertainment, okay. If you have somebody helping you out around the house, you get a budget for that. On and on and on. So you make a spreadsheet. And it's just an estimate, and with that estimate, you're able to go in there and change it as expenses go up. Believe me, expenses are never going to go down as they go up. Okay. All right, so they go into this and then they go through the different strategies. And then we're gonna, and I'm not gonna go through this article with you, but I can just kind of click on it and show you how it looks. Okay, so I'm just gonna go into this, bump, bump, bump. There it is. I was already taking a peek at it, okay? So we come on here, okay? And you can watch these videos. They're easy to watch, okay? Um, they're talking about the same scenario I was talking about, okay? Life expectancy is increased, okay? You're gonna live into your 90s, okay? Um, so we have to look at some instruments that are gonna that are gonna give you the biggest bang out of your buck, okay? And to avoid taxation, okay? And because what happens is you do these what are called tax deferred accounts. So you're going to defer paying taxes. This is your money. It gets taken out of your paycheck, okay? Normally you would pay state and federal income tax, okay? But you defer that to when you start actually pulling the money out. So when I'm all done and retired, I'm not going to be spending as much money as I am right now. All right, I'm not driving to LA anymore. Blah blah blah. You know, yeah, I want to travel. I want to spend. My mortgage is going to be gone. So you can see how I'm going to have less expenses. And so every year, however much money I pull out of my retirement account, that is considered your earned income, and that's what you get taxed on. Okay, so let's say I'm making $350,000 a year right now. So that would be my base for considering my federal income tax and state income tax. When I'm retired, and if I'm only spending maybe 150 grand a year, see, it's a much lower base, so you pay far less taxes on that money. Okay, so this is the important thing to think about. All righty, so he goes into all this, talks about the hit that happened during the pandemic. Um, this is how you set up a budget, okay? So it talks to you about all the things you need to do, okay? So here's your budget, okay? Like I said, healthcare costs, we learned that is a big one. People with the Social Security, 50% of their Social Security check, if that's all you have, is going towards out-of-pocket medical expenses. You should calculate this increase. Are you healthy? Do you have a history of diabetes and heart disease in your family? This is a part of the budget. I hate to be this way, but you guys have to think about this, okay? And so they go through what you should be budgeting, okay? This is how you make a budget, okay? So it's a real cool video right here, 2 minutes long. Big deal, okay? Yeah, alrighty, then we come down here, okay? And it's talking about parts of the budget, okay? Then right here, these are the investment strategy accounts, okay? And there's a lot of them. We're going to go over the major ones. You can see there's a lot of ones right here, and you can look at the comparison chart, okay, in terms of contribution limits, okay, and how they vary, okay. And again, this was the 2022. The federal government changes it every year, trying to create incentives so that you'll contribute more to your retirement, so you won't be a big burden on society and the federal government. Okay, alrighty. So these are the different tools that are discussed in this article. We're going to go over IRAs, Roth IRAs, 401ks. Okay, these are other ones. This is a rarity. Okay, a Roth 401k. Not too many corporations have that. All right, and these are all the issues that could come up. Okay, the big one here, employee match. It's huge. Okay, so the employer match. All right, take advantage of that for sure. Okay, and that's what this is all about. Again, this is a rarity, and we're not going to get into that. It's a special type of account that some corporations can't set up. Okay, alrighty, so you go through all that, boom, 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 compound interest. We're going to take a look at that. Just means you invest a couple $1,000s and you walk away from it, and every year it spins interest, and interest goes back into the principal, and the interest is then applied to the new growing principal. And every year, if you maybe you're getting a 6%, 8% return on your investment, every year it's growing, 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 and it gets exponential. So it's an easy way to make money. Okay, all right, that's what that's all about. Okay, and then it goes through these different types of retirement strategies, the toolkit right here. All right, so you read through that. They talk about 401k versus a Roth 401k. Again, that's a rarity. Okay, this is the concept of compounding. All right, you see that this is your actual contribution. All right, so the money you're putting into one of these investment accounts, but because it's making a 6% return on the investment and putting it back into the investment tool, the actual value grows and grows and grows and grows, which is awesome. So at the end of, say, 30 years, okay, let's say you invested in reality. What is that line right there? So it says I invested 168,000, I think, but in because of the compounding, it's now worth 360,000. So I doubled the value of the money just by putting into one of these accounts. Something to think about, my friends, okay? And if you don't spend it all, you know what? There, I'll give it to my kids, all right? So that's called inheritance, okay? And Julie's going to go into all that when she talks about um, um, estate planning as an attorney. Okay, awesome. All right, so let's go back to this right here, and we're going to review a little bit of the shock and awe. Okay, so you know, it's a tragedy. Okay, and again, I want to go. I want to kind of reiterate what I'm talking about here. We have a lot of business majors in this class, and even if you're not a business major, the reality is whether you are an Annenberg major and you're hoping to get into media, you're a future doctor, you're an engineer, whatever it is, in order to do those things that are fulfilling and fun in the workplace, and then be able to go out and play, you got to make money and you got to manage your money. And that's why this thing is so important. A lot of people are going to be afraid. So yes, a lot of our Marshall School students are going to become financial counselors, money managers, investment strategists, whatever name you want to put on it. Okay, so this is in the wheelhouse, and my Marshall major should really be paying attention to this. Okay, so we're going to talk about these, like I said, these options of investing. All right, we're going to talk about compound interest. Okay, these are important concepts. And yes, your critical thinking assignment too, you're going to see in real time what happens when you invest using these strat, and you're going to comment on that. All right, so, all right, here we are. We're looking at America right now, okay? And 1 in 3 Americans of working age has zero retirement income, okay? Obviously, this is mostly on the younger side, but we'll see even in older people have very limited retirement income, all right? So this is a percentage, and we could be doing better, okay? 56% of our country has less than 10,000 saved, all right? It's tough. It's harder to be a woman, okay? More pressure is put on you as a woman, okay? Because first of all, you make, maybe 70% of what men make. You oftentimes take hits to your career because you have to do this work-life balance, okay? It is what it is. Yeah, certainly a lot more women are the quote-unquote breadwinners making more income in a couple, but by far, the situation is women will have children, and because they've had children, their career takes a hit. Boom, all right? It happened to my wife, Julia, okay? She worked for the biggest law firm in all of California, and it was very clear if she decided to have children that she was going to be kicked out of the partner track and was never going to make the big, huge dollars, okay? It also became very clear that the hours working for a huge law firm were not compatible with having a family. All right, on and on and on and on. So women have to oftentimes take a hit in their careers, and as a result, okay, when we look at women versus men, 38% of women have zero retirement income compared to 30% of men. If we look at the next step down, have less than 10,000, okay, dollars saved, 25% compared to 22, and you see the numbers start adding up, and it's biased against women. Okay. All righty, let's look. This is I think really the most important graphic, and this is because we saw this graphic up here, and and like I said, 56% of Americans have less than 10,000 saved, and the third have nothing. Okay, so if we come down here and we look at age groups, let's just look at boomers. Okay, all right, so this is my age group right here, and to think that over a fourth, approaching 30%, have zero retirement income, okay? Um, they're relying 100% Social Security, and we're going to see later on, if they were in a low-paying job, they're not going to get that much Social Security income. So this is, it's a horrible trap to be involved in. We see right here, boomers, again, let's just say they're retired, okay? 17.3% have less than 10,000 saved, all right? So we add these together, you're starting to approach 50% of people that are retired have less than $10,000 saved. $10,000 would be an expense of 1 month. And then what are you going to do? Okay, on and on and on and on. Okay, so it's a big issue. Okay, and the cost of living is creating this situation where it's getting harder and harder for each of the subsequent generations. Okay, these are Gen Xers, these are millennials. Okay, and you see that 50% of millennials have nothing saved. Okay, so it's really time to start thinking about that. All right. Okay. Now, like I said, we're looking at huge percentages of here, especially in the people that are of retirement age that are likely retired. They're relying 100% on Social Security. Okay, now the way Social Security works, the benefits are progressive, so you make more Social Security income if you are a higher wage earner. Sorry. All right. So if you have over a 35-year edge, your average, it gets indexed, and this is what your average is. And this is not uncommon for some of our service workers to be in this range. This is going to be their annual income. Okay, if you go up here approaching 60,000, you see it increases, but still not a huge annual income. Okay, and then we come out here to a higher wage earner who over their average over 35 years. Okay, and again, you have to have worked for 10 years to fully qualify for Social Security. Okay, but this is the average, so that would be a pretty moderate average in today's world. You're going to make 34,000. Now you see that the more money you earn, that the Social Security income is a lower percentage. Okay, so it's indexed so that lower wage earners are going to make a higher percentage of Social Security income. But still, it's really sad what they have here. And yes, you work harder and you'll get more. All right. So we come up here, and I just want to briefly talk about it. And if you have an interest in this, you can certainly look into this on your own. But this kind of explains in here what's going on in terms of this Social Security system, how it works. Okay. So these benefits, okay, are earned by paying into the Social Security system. So we have the Social Security tax, the FICA, and then we have Medicare tax. Okay, we talked about those last time. Okay, so half is paid by you, half is paid by your employer. Okay, and if you're self-employed, then you got to pay the full amount. Okay, so in order to be eligible, you have to have contributed or showed income for 10 years. Okay, or you can be claiming based on a spouse. So there's, so if I pass and my wife hadn't worked, then she would pick up and receive my Social Security benefits as a spouse. Okay, it's progressive, as we just showed. Okay, and they're calculated. Okay, based on and then they're indexed. Okay, so what does this mean? Okay, so Social Security income is based on your average salary over a 35-year period, and then it is indexed so that the lower income earners have a higher percentage of their income. But that being said, we see that the more money you make, still you're going to make more Social Security income. The maximum, so we didn't index to every income. The maximum is 43,524 in the year 2023. Okay, this will go up. There are called cost of living adjustments, COLA, called COLA. But still, if I had to retire on this amount of income, I'd be in a world of hurt. Okay, based on my budget. Alrighty, so again, this was how this is all worked out. And there's an index, so there's a calculation that the Social Security system does that looks at these variables that we just talked about right there. All right, so that's how Social Security works. Okay. And so in here, we go through some, again, that stats, and we go through some of the concepts. Now, a big part of the discussion, and we saw in the previous weeks, is that the government has incentivized us to not tap into Social Security too early, okay? Because that means we're going to be drawing over it over a longer period of time, okay? And and that's a financial burden, okay, for the government, and they'll go broke, okay? So yes, I can start drawing my Social Security income at age 62 years of age, but the government will punish me. There'll be a penalty. Okay, so they'll reduce even though my earned income is on pace to be we'll show down here. Say I'm an average worker. Okay, my earned income put me at a pace of $2,000 a month Social Security. If I retire early, they reduce it by 30%. And so this is what I would make if I retired at age 62. So by just hanging in there for 6 more years, can't even do the math, 5 more years, I then have this increased income, and then they incentivize it to if I can hang in there and work for seven until I'm 70, which is not that much more. Seriously, until I'm 3 more years. Look at the gain in income, and this is why you have to keep working. Okay, that's that incentivized program. Alrighty, so I'm gonna max out my Social Security. In fact, guys, I'm planning on working till I am at age 72. Why is that? Okay, it goes out back to health insurance. Okay, my wife Julia is 7 years younger than me. Okay, so I right now, as soon as you turn 65, I could qualify for Medicare. Okay, however, that would leave her in a world of hurt for insurance because she is 7 years younger. She doesn't qualify for Medicare. She is not a full-time USC employee, so she doesn't qualify for USC insurance. So she would go out there in the market and have to pay a lot more. That's the bottom line. So I'm hanging in there till she turns 65. Then we can both go on Medicare. All right. All right. So these are all financial considerations. Okay. All right. So what have we done? What should you do in terms of planning for retirement? Okay. So these are the company-based ones that are the most lucrative. Okay. These ones that that you got to wrap your head around. Okay. When you finally get to the point you get a job offer, you ask the company, is there a 401k plan? Okay. If it's a government agent, as you can see here, they just give it a different number. It's the same approach. And then nonprofits like USC or which is not super a nonprofit, but it's called a nonprofit, or any type of philanthropic nonprofit organization. And you ask, do you have a 401k? Okay, I want to start doing the maximal contribution into that. And then you also ask, what are your company matches? Because that's money that is free, okay? And I'll talk about that in a sec, okay? So these are some of the things that you have to think about, okay? What is the benefit of the 401k? Like I said, so I am deferring paying taxes on this income till later on. So then if as I do, put in, say, $15,000 or $20,000 a year into my retirement income, I don't pay taxes on that until I start drawing from it, and it reduces my taxable income. Okay, the way your income tax works, the way both federal and state income tax works, is as you make more and more money, you get into a higher tax bracket, meaning that for every dollar you're making, when you make more and more money, then a higher percentage of that new money you're making is taxed. Some low wage earners might be in the 10% tax bracket, whereas a higher wage earner like myself might be in a 35% tax bracket, meaning that 35% of every dollar I make goes to federal income tax. Okay, so if I can reduce that taxable income by putting it away, it's like it doesn't exist for year 2023, then it's a win-win. Okay, so my taxable income goes down, so I bought myself down from a 35% tax bracket to maybe a 28% tax bracket. So I'm being taxed less. It's awesome. And then when I retire and spend that money, I'm not going to spend 300 grand a year. I'm going to spend 150 grand a year. It'll be even at a lower tax bracket. So that's why that's important. Does your company match? That's a huge benefit. Huge. Okay. You want to know when you go do that job interview, um, what is the benefits package? Okay. Do they have life insurance plans? Do they have healthcare insurance? What is the match on the healthcare insurance? Do they have the 401k or the 403p retirement plans, and do they match? Okay, the way USC works. Okay, and it's been this way for a long time. We took a little hit during the pandemic because we all had to tighten our belts. But the way USC works is my contract is a 9-month contract, okay, as faculty, okay. If you're staff, you have a 12-month contract, okay. Um, but I can put in 5% of my 9-month salary, okay, and USC that goes into my 401k, all right. So that's good, and it's going to compound. USC matches that 5%. 2 to 1. So if I put in, say, $10,000, okay, and USC puts in 20, you can see how that works, okay? So then now that 30 grand is going to be making maybe 8% every year. It's going to compound, okay? So it's huge. And like I said, there's huge tax savings to be had because it reduces my taxable income for this year, okay? And because I'm still working. And then when I go and draw on my retirement accounts, I'm probably not going to spend that much, all right? All righty. So what do we have here? So not everybody has the benefit that I have. We're working for a large corporation. So let's say you're self-employed, okay? What you say you can, or maybe the corporation you work for doesn't have a 401k plan or a 403b, okay? So then what you can do, you can still take the money you've earned and put it into what's called an individual retirement account. This is called an IRA, all right? All right, so there's two different strategies, okay? The one you should be thinking about now, okay, for low income earners like yourself, okay, you do what's called a Roth individual retirement account. All right, because what you can do, maybe you're still living at home, but you're making 50 grand a year, right? All right, all the IRS knows is you're making 50 grand a year, that you're at the lowest tax bracket, okay? All right, so you can take, and we're going to tell you about the limits right now, but you can take, where's the limits here? Down there. So you can take $6,500, okay, every single year, okay, and put it into one of these Roth IRAs, okay? What the way it works is because you're making so little money right now, okay, that money that you've put in, it's already been taxed, okay, with a Roth IRA. But your taxable income, maybe you're at the 8% taxable income, so it barely even got taxed, which is beautiful. You put it into this retirement account, okay? You don't look at it until you retire, and then when you pull it out, okay, and maybe when you're retiring, you're going to pull money out of your Roth IRAs, maybe at the rate of $250,000 a year when you're 70 years of age. You've already been taxed on it when you put it in, so that it doesn't get taxed at all. So it's beautiful. So right now, if you don't need the money and you're young, you should be putting as much as you can annually into these Roth IRAs, and you'll look it away, okay? There are ways, let's say you need the money back for whatever reason. There are emergency methods of pulling money out of these retirement accounts, the individual retirement accounts. There's oftentimes penalties, but that's okay. All right. So that's the Roth IRA. The traditional IRA, okay, is one that you're going to be putting in when you're making more money, right? So now you're already up into the 30% tax bracket, okay, and so you don't want to be take your salary from that month, and it's already been taxed at 30%, and then put it into that Roth IRA. The better thing to do is to put it in a regular IRA. And what the regular IRA will do is it will lower your income as far as the federal government is concerned to a lower level, so it's at a lower tax bracket. All right, so you'll pay lower taxes on your income that year. The IRA you've put away, so you haven't paid any taxes on that yet. That's the difference. And then when you're 70 years old or 75 and you pull that money out, that's when you pay taxes. You pay taxes later, right? So this is take a tax break now or take a tax break later, okay? So that's the difference in that, okay? Alrighty, there are contribution limits, okay? So we're looking at the 401k. Like I said, this is a biggie, okay? All right. So you can put a lot more money away in retirement accounts. So if you're making a bunch of money, why not put a bunch of money away? You'll have other ways to invest, okay? And if it doesn't hurt right now, plan for it because you're not going to work forever, okay? So the way it works is there's a maximum employee amount, okay, that is 22,500, okay, but my employer, like I said, USC matches me 2-to-1, okay, can put in as not quite 2-to-1, but they can put in a max with between my income and what USC puts in. I can put in 66 grand a year. Not bad, okay, not bad, all right. Okay, not everybody has that kind of money, all right? And then what happens is that I can exceed this value. There's a catch-up benefit, and this is where the federal government is like, oh my God, you're age 50, we need you to catch up. So there's an additional $7,500 that I can put into my 401k, all right? The government is trying to incentivize us to save, okay? Then we have the IRAs. I'm not going to talk about the SEPA IRA because it's a pretty complicated strategy. We'll just talk about the two that we talked about earlier. Alrighty, so up to age, if you're under age 50, every year you can put in $6,500 into this IRA, okay? And then it's going to compound. It's going to make money, okay? It's a great, and you're going to see this when you do your critical thinking assignment too. So it's going to grow. It's going to grow. If you're a lower income earner, then put it into a Roth IRA. You pay next to no taxes on it, and then it grows. And then when you take it out, you don't pay any taxes. Remember, you're going to be paying taxes on this later on. So the whole point of this is to reduce your current taxable income. Okay. When you get older, okay, you can increase this value from $6,500 to $7,500. Again, it's a smaller bump, much smaller bump than we saw over here. Okay, it's just the way the tax system is set up. Okay, all right. So these are the things that you have to consider, and research this a little bit. Okay, research this a little bit, and you can find out that there are income levels for each of these strategies as you read through this. Okay. All right. Now, so I keep talking about compounding, and again, that's not where you're adding money like we saw in that one in the article, the CNBC article. But let's say you just right now, okay, you decided over a 2-year period, okay, you invested $10,000, okay, and so you put it in the stock market, it makes 5% interest. Now I've been working at USC for 33 years, and I would say on average, we were making about 8% on our investments, okay? Yes, this last year has been stagnant, okay? It happens. This is what this, housing and stock market does. It starts here, it goes, and then it takes a dip, and then it goes up, and then it takes a dip. You have to look at it over the long haul, okay? And that's just something to remember, okay? Try and look the other way. This year, we just kind of look the other way and realize, yeah, we're putting in money in, it's not growing. And sometimes it even goes down in value because of hits that the stock market takes. But over the long haul, making between 7, 8, sometimes 9% return on my investment, which is huge. So you did this Roth IRA, you did it 2 years in a row, you have $10,000 in there. You don't look at it, you don't touch it, okay? And over 30 years, you guys are what? So you're 22 years old, okay? So over 30 years, okay, that $10,000, because the interest that you make goes back into the principal, and then the 5% gets considered, and then it goes back into the principal and the 5% gets considered, okay? If you just put the $10,000 in your mattress, it's still $10,000, okay? But if you put it into this investment tool from compounding, that same $10,000 is now worth $40,000. Boom! Just think if you put $10,000 in every 2 years, all right, or $6,000 a year, like I said, 6,500. Just think how much this thing will grow. You're going to see when you do this in terms of the critical thinking assignment number 2, right? Very cool. All right, so we've talked about this, okay? The defined pension plan, okay? And the way this works is if you're a company, you can have a pension, okay? And then also we have government employees that have pensions where the taxation system pays into it, okay? It goes into this pension fund that's supposed to be insured, you know, and then you have this automatic distribution that goes out to the retired employees, all right? Guaranteed return has become a burden for employers, okay? So as we've talked about, companies have moved away from the defined pension plan. Government workers still have it, okay? And government workers do not get Social Security, so they have this pension that's guaranteed. So it's much better than Social Security, okay? And that's one correction that is made, okay? There is an annuity, okay? This is highly marketed by financial planners, money managers, and the reason that they market that is they make a lot of fees on it, okay? The annuity is put out there by an insurance company, so you give them your money, okay, and they will guarantee you an income stream, okay, when you get retired, okay? However, they can take your money and invest it and make a lot more money on it, okay? And that's lost income that you could have had. So the annuity is not going to give you as much return on that money as if you had done it yourself as your own personal financial planner. Okay, you got to rewatch it. You know, back in the day, financial planners would market their annuities, and you would pay high fees on the front end, 2, 3, 4% of what you put into it. Boom, goes straight to their pocket. There was annual fees on the annuities, you know, that were, you know, cost heavy. And then way back in the day, when the person died, if there was anything left in the annuity, it went to the planner. Okay, that last part has kind of disappeared, thankfully. But still, you have to be very, 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 very careful. There's a paywall on this Forbes magazine article, but check it out if you can. All right. So let's say you just have money, you're not working, you can do a brokerage account. The difference with that, okay, remember the IRAs and the Roth IRAs, they're deferred. Okay, the IRA's deferred paying taxes. The Roth IRA, you're not going to pay any taxes later on. Um, Brokerage accounts, you pay for every gain that you make, okay? So, but still, you know, it's fine. You know, you're still going to be making money with your investment, just not as much. So that's what the brokerage accounts are about, okay? And again, you can talk about this with your parents. It's something well worth looking at too. Something to consider is as you're doing your investments, okay, like I said, there's different types of funds that you will have as investment strategies. So within our 401k, or with say you set up a Roth IRA, you can choose what you want to invest it into, okay? And these are, you know, the fees that you oftentimes will encounter when you're investing, being your own investment person, okay? And these are minimal fees, okay? You know, you should be shooting, you know, if you can, for a fee of, say, 0.2% or something like that. Okay. The difference is when you do when you don't do this yourself, but there's you have a financial planner, a money manager doing for this, so they will buy and sell, whether it's stocks or these funds, okay, mutual funds or index funds. And what these are, just they're lower risk, okay. Then you should never be careful investing in individual stocks. Okay, you got to diversify, because if a company dies, okay, for example, let's say you had 80% of your investments in Silicon Valley Bank. Company dies, you lose everything, okay? It's better to use what's called an index fund or a mutual fund, okay? And in this, it is a category of stock. Let's say it's a tech stock, or it's a commodity, or whatever it is, banking stock, but it's within that category, there may be 20,000 companies. So the individual company is not going to kill you. It's the average of those. Okay, so that's what those are all about. And call us, talk to us later on if you want about this. This is kind of B school stuff. All right, but if you have a money manager doing this, they may charge you 2% on your money. Okay, compared to the minimal fees that you were doing it by doing yourself. And the fees that you pay if you create your own Fidelity or Vanguard or Morgan Stanley account or whatever, it's just the fees that go into maintaining the infrastructure of the website and performing the transactions. Okay, alrighty. So we're looking right here. Okay, again, so if your money manager is charging you, say, 2%, okay, and we're looking at the account, okay, and in let's say this is the account value from doing investments over 30 years, okay. So I had a money manager doing it for 30 years, or I had Julie doing it for 30 years, okay. So the fees you see right here were minimal, okay. You see right here, the fees right here were significant, okay? And so you then have this kind of lost income, all right? So with minimal fees, I got a lot more money. You see that over here that we have, almost, a fifth of the account went into somebody's pocket. Now, think about this, okay? So this is, let's say at the end of 30 years, your investments are worth 5 million, okay? So think about that. So $1 million is gone to fees. Maybe you should do it yourself. Alrighty, cool. So that's what this thing's all about. All right. Now we're going to look again. I want you guys to think about what we can do to make this easier. Okay. First of all, we should be teaching this in high school. Second of all, you should, instead of taking a GE, you should take a financial planning class. Okay. These are all we need to educate. All right. We have this huge gap between retirement needs and actual retirement savings that we just talked about. Okay, I'll show you back down here about this huge study was done, and you're going to think about this. Okay, how can we promote more savings? Okay, what about millennials? How about Gen Zers like you? Okay, are you going to be able to invest in retirement planning and retirement income, or are you just going to be sucked down by the cost of living? Okay, is it fair across all different types of ethnicities? Is it fair for women? Okay, maybe women should get a bonus if they have children. Something to think about that. All right, is it fair in terms of socioeconomics? Okay, so this was a study that looked at 2016. Okay, and it's incredible to think about what happened. Okay, now obviously this was the big hit right here, and that was the recession that happened in 2008. But we look here, okay, and we look at the median, okay, median retirement accounts. Okay, that's if we lined every single American up. That is okay, and this is for people of different age groups that we see right here. So I want to focus in on these people because they really need to have their retirement income ready to rock because they're approaching 60 years of age. So we wind up everybody that's between 56 and 61 in our country, and we from the Bill Gates over here to the person at the very bottom of the barrel over here, and we lined them up and we looked in the middle. The median was $21,000. $21,000 saved. Okay, that's really, that shows you that 50% of our country is in a world of hurt. Think about it, really, if you only have $75,000 saved, you're in a world of hurt. And then we go down, 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 down here, and we see that for every age group right here, of course, there's less invested. So that's something that really needs to be corrected. We see here that it's much better and much easier to be a white person in our country than it is to be Hispanic and to be black. Okay, and we see that there's this huge socioeconomic and racial disparity in terms of having retirement accounts on a percentile basis. All right, so we see that while they're small, 68% of white Americans have some type of retirement account savings, whereas far fewer Hispanic and black members of our country have that. Okay, college educated, just like you guys are being educated about this, are much more likely. Okay, and this is going across time. So college education is you're much more likely to have any type of retirement account. We're not talking about how much it is, it's just the percentage of people that have it. Okay, and we see it down here, no high school or college diploma. Again, these are people that are hurt the most. Okay, this is the actual program right here, the study that was done. Check it out. There are probably 50 graphs in there to look at. So, all right, guys. So that's your charge. I know this was probably a little bit long-winded, but it was a super important chapter. Again, I think you should have a sit down with your parents and sit down with your friends. If you're in the B school, talk amongst each other. And talk about the how critical it is to do financial planning. All right, guys, peace, and we'll see you next time.